All right, good evening, everyone. The time is 6:34. Today is Tuesday, July 26, 2022. It's the Abington Conservation Commission meeting. First item is old business, SE 084-0555, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation filed by Jim Lambert, WP East Acquisitions LLC, located at 0 Summer Street. They sent out an email today asking for a continuance to the August 9th meeting. I know a couple of the members sent out some questions to LEC. Once he reviewed the questions, he needs to go back out there and do some more work before he can come in with his final determination on everything. I forwarded that email to, or Tony forwarded it to Goddard, and they asked for a continuance
Make a motion, we continue?
to the August 9th meeting.
I'll second.
Is anybody from the audience here for 0 Summer?
You have anything you want to say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just come up to the,
Is there a
to
podium?
the microphone. Yeah. To the microphone.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I missed the last meeting, I'm sorry, my name's John Norton, 84 Market Street.
Yep.
I was just concerned, I'm sorry about that. I heard there was the fire, I was just curious about the findings of the study that you guys did, or did you do it? What were the results regarding that?
Still working on it.
So you haven't fully recovered and done that?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so are you addressing anything else on the 40B project tonight?
No.
Okay. So, but you still haven't done, but we're still waiting upon studies, and you haven't done the study as of yet?
We're waiting on a couple questions that commissioners had as far as, I think, location of some of the flags.
Okay.
What else was there?
Intermittent
The
stream.
intermittent stream, yep.
This was based on a site walk we had done last week.
And you guys, have you guys actually had access to the property?
Yes, we
And
did.
they're looking at you
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
just one
And
last week.
now, are they hiring someone, and you are hiring someone to find their studies? But that's my question.
Yeah, basically, we've hired a peer reviewer, LEC, that they're paying for, but
Okay.
we chose them, and they're basically going through what the property owner's engineer or scientist did, to double check, see if they've.
And we're
missed
hiring
anything.
someone else to find those facts? And like,
That's who
okay.
LEC is.
Okay, exactly. So, and you're still working on that as
Yep.
of now? Okay, that's all I want to know. And that's all your business you have on the 40B project today?
As far as that goes, yeah.
Okay,
Our
thank you.
next meeting is August 9th.
August 9th, okay. What was addressed in the last meeting? I'm sorry, I did not meet it. Was anything
I
on
think
the
it was
40B?
just, the last one just continued.
It was just, so they
Yeah.
keep continuing, they're not here
Yeah,
to represent themselves to...
It's a lot of work just to go through everything. It's a, it's a large piece of property with
Oh.
a lot of wetlands.
It's not really that big. Not that big at all. The other thing, are you guys working with the planning board at all? Because I know they kind of got into, the abutters like myself, and they have more concerns about the abutting roads, and they did mention you, that were having a study and they make it public record. So I was under the assumption that you already done the study. So I didn't know if you guys are working together, or if you're meeting with the other, anything like that?
We haven't yet because,
We're just looking at the wetland.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have basically looked at it blindly and then waiting for reports?
yeah, I don't think we want to see a plan with the buildings on it until we know where the wetlands are.
Exactly, yeah, so that's what my concern was, so make sure that if you guys done the study or not.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else for 0 Summer Street? All right, bring it back to the board. Someone like to make a motion to continue?
I thought we did.
Motion on the table to continue SE 080-0555, 0 Summer Street, till the next meeting of
August 9th.
August 9th.
You have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, next up is discussion and update and possible vote on enforcement order located at 0 Hancock Street. We had the special meeting last Monday, the 18th. We gave a couple deadlines, and the most important one was today at 6:30 was to have the additional silt fence installed in the crossing that we're calling crossing, or area number 2. Alex and I did a site walk around 5:15 this afternoon, and it's installed properly. They got it towed into the ground.
Good.
Looks good.
That's good news.
And also, I know one of the other deadlines was
August
on the,
2nd.
for the survey, is August 2nd. That's not gonna happen.
All right, he's still trying to secure a,
He's reached out so far to 10 different survey companies, and he's secured, I forget the name of the one, but they're, I think, 3 weeks. It was 4 weeks when I talked to him last week, so 3.5 weeks before they can come out and do anything. And actually, Nicole sent an email a couple hours ago. I will get a draft wetland restoration report in about a week from now to the commissioner.
She was scheduled to
have it.
redo the wetlands delineation by August 2nd, and the plan by August 9th, so that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm working, either that August 2nd, I want Andrew to be able to go out there the day they do it. So if that falls on to August 3rd or August 4th, I want him to be out there when she's out there, or whoever from Goddard is
And he
out there
said he
doing the
would.
delineation. So I started an email chain between them so they can schedule it.
Good.
And that way they don't have to, she doesn't have to come back out again 2 days after, and, you know, because every time she comes out here, he's paying for her. So I think if they can do everything in one day, if
That's
they
fine.
have any discrepancies, they can solve it right then and there, and
That's
done.
reasonable, yeah.
I did talk to the assessor's office
Yep.
about the property boundary and who owns it, and they were, I would say 99% sure that it's actually a Parecki property, that it was, somebody got a little zealous and put State Park there, but it actually, the parcel definitely looks like it's Parecki. They said that they would confirm. They haven't gotten back to me, but I'll call them this week to see if I can get a confirmation, but from what they pulled up and the property cards, it pretty much is Parecki, so it is private property, which might be problematic because the owners are difficult to reach, because I think they're in Poland.
Yeah, the Ukraine.
Ukraine,
What I've
oh, they're
been
in
told,
Ukraine?
yeah.
Oh,
That's even
jeez.
worse.
So when we were out there talking to Colin, the property owner, I told him it'd be nice when Nicole does the restoration plan to have the contingency plan in place where if they cannot do the restoration work on the property that's not theirs, how they gonna restore what's on their property.
Right.
So-
They somehow can make up,
That way we can
replicate on their own
look at
property.
both plans and
Mhm.
instead of pushing it off and saying we can't do it because this isn't our property.
Right, and Andrew suggested that, from DEP, I saw an email in here or something, that if we can't get on their, if they can't go on the property, that they put a silt fence along the property barrier.
Silt fence is in.
No, it's in where it's
Yep.
supposed to be? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. What he was talking about. I haven't seen the silt fence.
I'm not a surveyor, so I can't say if it's on,
It's close enough to
Yeah.
protect the
Yes.
property, right?
yes. All right, so when I make a motion to continue that to the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue 0 Hancock Street. I don't have the SEC number.
Enforcement
It doesn't have an
order
SEC.
All right, it's the enforcement order until our next meeting,
on August 9th.
August
Second.
9th.
With the same wording that we have on the,
Yeah,
I like the wording.
Yeah.
so Rich seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next on the agenda is new business, introduction of the new building commissioner.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Carmichael. I'm the new building commissioner, zoning enforcement officer. I just want to put a face to the name and introduce myself to the board. Let me know that I'm going to be in the building with Tony on a daily basis, and if anybody needs anything from me, please reach out to me. Tony has my contact information, it's on the website as well.
And she'll probably be the point of contact, so,
That'd be great.
yeah.
But if anybody else has questions or concern, they can reach right out to me, and I'll get right back to them.
Do you have a business card yet, or?
I have not, no, I'm not really, I'm not fresh. I'm waiting for my laptop as well and my vehicle, so it's all good.
We're gonna get this guy hooked up, we're gonna need him.
Welcome.
Thank you, I
What
appreciate
was your
that.
name again? I'm sorry.
Chris Carmichael.
Chris
Right.
Carmichael.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves. This is our illustrious chairman.
My name is Paul Bunker.
We met the other day. Nice to see you again, Paul.
Richard Smith.
Richard, nice to meet you.
Alex Leary?
Alex,
Oh, Dan Cameron.
nice to meet you.
Lynn Mullen.
Hey.
Kathy Creighton?
Kathy,
Jean Matiosis.
ladies, nice to meet you all.
Very nice to meet you.
Tim Warner is not here, he's on vacation, he's the vice chair. Okay.
All right, great. Well, again, please reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns.
I really would love to talk to you, so maybe.
Sounds good, but we're on camera right now, so.
We'll meet after.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Have a great night. everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Chris. Welcome aboard.
Thank you again.
All right, next up is vote on permit fees. This is something that we've been discussing for the past 2.5, 3 months. I know a couple meetings ago, we pretty much decided how we wanted to tackle it, which was basically go off of and copy Rockland's fees all up and down.
I agree.
Anybody have anything they want to add to it, or?
I mean, it's been on the meeting agenda for several meetings.
Yeah.
Everybody's had the ability to look at the Excel sheet and do the comparisons. Myself personally, I think that was the best way to look at them because you can see them side by side. The last time we had our fees on a schedule was back in the 90s.
Kathy would know.
Before Alex Haggerty was born.
Yes, 1993.
I think we did them in 1989, and then we updated them in 1992, and
Right.
from what I saw on the sheet that I got from the current day, it's the
Yeah.
same
Yep.
thing I did many years ago.
Right.
So, did we vote to approve them yet?
No, we had to
No,
wait,
still working on
we had
it.
to wait for so many, how many days was it, Alex?
Was it 30?
30. Did
30
we post,
days.
and we posted it?
Tony posted, yep.
Okay. So is the 30 days over?
Yes.
Right.
Awesome.
And it shouldn't come as any surprise, I think Rich, you pointed that out very well, that all the other towns around us are at these rates, and so it's pretty comparable, so it should come as no surprise to any of the developers or contractors, so.
And if anything becomes difficult or awkward, or we
Right.
think we need to change, I mean,
Absolutely.
we can do that.
It's a living document, so it can be.
How long do you think it'll take for you to post if we approve them? Okay, so anything that comes in before,
Well, would it be wise to make it effective as of like August 1st or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. And then Tony's gonna post it on the conservation website?
Right.
Okay.
So there's plenty of time to be able to.
So anything after August 1st?
if we vote to approve these, then
On or after?
these will be the rates
On
going
or
forward.
after. Mhm.
So we'll probably get a deluge of NOIs.
No kidding.
Let's save some cash.
That's funny, that's funny.
Get ready to
Just,
do it.
yeah, well, that and because the NOI checklist isn't live yet either, so.
I have a printed copy of it, I brought it with me just in case. Do you need it? I have it on a Word doc, I just have to make it pretty now. And Lynn's gonna help me, and Kathy probably, and anybody else who is a Word expert here? Word docs? No?
Just send it to one of us. We'll
All
clean
right.
it up for you.
Sure.
Happy to do that.
me, I'll take it.
Oh, well, you know, I just wanna make sure that when I transferred it over, I didn't miss anything. These two are funny, they'll find it.
So how should we make the motion? Do we have to go line item by line item, or can we just basically
I
say?
think we have a printed document, we can say mirror those fees
From
and
Rockland.
make them our own
Mhm.
as of August 1st.
Very good, Rich.
You can make the motion if you'd like.
That's his motion, I'll second.
We're gonna mirror the Rockland fees, correct? The town of Rockland
Yes.
fees.
Do you want to make the motion, make it official?
I'll make the motion that the town of Abington adopts and mirrors the rates as it relates to conservation for Rockland.
And I will,
And starting as of August 1st,
2022.
2022.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Next up is, let me just get the P number. Next up is request for a notice of intent filed by Abington Investment LLC located at 402 Groveland Street. The SE number is SE 084-558. Sean, you handed us the letter from DEP. You guys all get a copy of that?
Yeah. Do we have the butter cards and do we have the notice that was in the newspaper that you should read?
Yes.
Sean has them, right? Or just,
It was part of my presentation, Kat.
oh gee, damn, I'm sorry, sorry, Sean.
Is that okay for your camera?
Huh? It's all good.
Okay, we all set, Mr. Chairman? Go right ahead, try to address everybody. My name is Attorney Sean Riley, 500 Washington Street, sorry, on my back. We are here for the property that's known as 402 Groveland Street. Filed a notice of intent regarding the construction of a driveway for a single-family home off Linwood Street, and as you mentioned, the DEP has already signed a file number for this. I did previously already submit the certificates of mailing to your secretary, and this is just another copy of the notice that was published as required by statute in the newspaper. I can kind of give a little summary and an explanation of why we're all here. It might help make some sense. The property that we're dealing with is 12.83 acres of land with 220 feet of frontage on Groveland Street and 40 feet of frontage on Linwood Street. The parcel consists of some contiguous upland, which is basically not wetlands but uplands, in this general area here. And it's essentially framed by wetlands around the north, the east, and down to the south, okay, just to get us acclimated. Due to the larger amount of street frontage on Groveland Street, the town has currently assigned a street address for this property as 402 Groveland Street, which I think has caused some confusion, because we're trying to put a driveway on Linwood Street, but we have to advertise it as 402 Groveland Street at this point. Due to the large size of the parcel, we're required to send a notice to every abutter who touches this property. So we sent out 33 notices to the abutters, despite the fact that a lot of the abutters' houses are going to be 1,000 feet away from the property, but you're still entitled to notice. I was talking to a gentleman who lives out back here trying to explain where we are and why you got notice. All the house lots on this side of Linwood Street here are about 350 feet deep. Our parcel extends from Groveland Street on the north, up here, all the way down south towards the town-owned land down here. To the rear, or to the far east of our property, is Gillespie Way over in this area, and some house lots on High Street and King Street, which is over here way off the road. Those houses on King and High Street are over 700 feet away from our nearest property line, but again, they're still entitled to getting notice because they touch our 12.8 acre parcel. Typically, the driveway for the house in a parcel of land would be located off of Groveland Street, where the main frontage is. However, due to the presence of significant wetlands in this area, the area which runs on through Linwood Street would be a much less significant impact to wetlands. This proposal seeks your approval to locate a single driveway for a single house coming off of Linwood Street. Requiring the driveway to cut through the wetlands at Groveland Street would obviously require significant disturbance in about a 700-foot long driveway, while the Linwood Street driveway requires less than 5,000 square feet of disturbance. That Linwood Street driveway design also provides for a replication area to be constructed on our property, so there'll be no net loss of any wetlands. All the wetland areas behind the house, behind the homes on Groveland Street, behind the homes on High Street, will remain untouched and in their exact same condition. The only wetlands area being disturbed is a limited portion of the driveway out towards the back corner, which we'll show you in a few minutes in greater detail, after you enter the property from Linwood Street. The design of the longer driveway running off Linwood Street is in keeping with the design of several other existing homes in this street. There are some homes with 300-foot long driveways. If you keep going down Linwood Street, they're over 350 feet, about 5 or 6 houses with long driveways. The LaPointes first met with the representatives of the fire department to ask for their desired width of this driveway, and the fire department requested that it be 16 feet wide, and that's what we're showing on our plan. Zoning laws allow residential driveways to be a maximum of 20 feet wide, which would fit in this 40-foot wide strip. But the 16-foot wide width allows room for the ambulance or an engine to get up or back, and it also limits the amount of wetland disturbance. We have also provided for an area for a car or a truck or a family member to turn around out in front of the house, which I'll show you just a second. And all of that, turn around the house, everything is 100% in upland. We're not filling in any wetlands for the house itself. So the notice of intent was prepared by Silva Engineering Associates, and it's been filed with the Abington Conservation Commission and filed with the state DEP. DEP's reviewed the submission materials and already issued the DEP file numbers we were just alluding to. In addition to filing the notice of intent form with you, we also provided a brief narrative in our cover letter to describe the purpose of this filing. And I also included a copy of a USGS map with my cover letter to each of you to help better visualize the whole 12-acre, almost 13-acre parcel. The certificate of mailing has been filed along with the proof of notice, so everything's on file. We've kind of, tied up all the loose ends. I'd like at this time to introduce Rebecca Baptista, who is the lead civil engineer from Silver Engineering Associates, which is located in Bridgewater. SEA has been doing engineering services and appearing before local conservation commissions since 1988. And many of you are probably familiar with SEA and the quality of their work. But I'd like to turn it over to Rebecca, who can give us a little more detail, give you more detail, and the neighbors more detail, and answer any questions you might have about the purpose and the notice of this notice of intent. So, Rebecca, take it away.
Oh my goodness, I feel like a slow. Can you hear me? So this is the magic behind the board, so that you can see. After this 12.8 acres, what we have, 40-foot strip that covers 16-foot driveway. The area in green here would be the area that we would be filling. The elevation would come up about 3 feet from what is natural grade in order to facilitate a drainage pipe underneath and allow stormwater to run underneath and not impound behind the block retaining wall that we're proposing to fill the wetland with. Once you get past the wetland area, we do have this, we do have the turnaround area that was shown on the plan that you have in your file that is not on this board that facilitated the turnaround. What you see here is the 100-foot buffer, which means everything in here is within the jurisdiction of the commission. It was flagged by Ken Thompson back in March of 2021. After he had done the delineation up here, and we Form A'd these lots, we had him go back out to see what was viable in the rest of the lots. There's this piece of upland over here, about ½ an acre. And as Riley had mentioned, we could have crossed into here and or crossed again into this large 2.8 acre contiguous upland. It seemed a little too much for just putting a single family home. We looked at the possibility of also using this 40-foot strip for a subdivision roadway. This does constitute and supports 3 lots. We could do 3 single-family homes with a road following all the ACOE and all the other, I'm sorry, not ACOE, Army Corps for filling and replicating the wetland. The LaPointes wish to do a single-family home. The replication area will be down gradient of all of the work. We have erosion control shown on the plan. We have construction entrance. We have all the erosion and stormwater controls that you would typically see for a single family home.
Can I just add to that? Did you bring the 3-unit, the 3-lot?
Oh, see, now you make me do the magic of
Okay.
the board.
Just so you know, the methodology of where we're going through, this was the first iteration that SEA brought back to LaPointe and said, this is what you can do. You can put a road in a cul-de-sac and the 3 houses. And LaPointe's would like not to. They would like to do a single driveway instead of a roadway. And by putting in a driveway in one house, it effectively blocks any road from coming in later. The roadway does require, or the roadway or the driveway requires permits from the Conservation Commission. The driveway also requires a variance from the zoning board, because as I mentioned before, typically the driveway come off of Groveland Street. We're asking for permission to go through here to minimize the wetland impact, which is one of the reasons a variance can be granted, but that has to go to the zoning board. So just as a heads up, you'll likely get you will get another notice, because we have to notify everybody again for the zoning hearing for the exact same plan that we're asking the Conservation Commission to approve. And that is just to allow it to be here and to allow it to only be a driveway for one house. So that's the procedure we're going through and trying to get in here to go through and why we're here first to work with you guys. All of the water right now flows in that general direction when it rains, the runoff goes that way. That's not changing, it's all gonna continue that way. But I wanted to give you a little background of where we were and where we've come to and what we're planning to do. So the house, as we said, will be located back here. These houses here are up on the street. These lots are 367 feet deep, so you can get an idea of how much distance is back here. These houses over here are back deeper in the lot. Our houses are here, and as I think I mentioned to those who are on High Street, or out on Gillespie Way, or even on Groveland Street, you are several hundred feet away from where we are, but all the wetlands that you see out there are not gonna be touched. We're not filling in any wetlands with the exception of this crossing point right here. And for what wetlands we need to fill for the driveway, we're replacing them down there. So visually, and stormwater runoff wise, you shouldn't notice any difference nor see anything because the woods aren't gonna change behind your house, okay? But I'll let Rebecca answer those technical questions if the commission has any, or if neighbors have any, we'll be happy to answer questions.
You look right at me.
Well, I have,
Ladies first,
I
ladies
was gonna
first.
say, I can tell you have comments, I can see it, so.
Did you ever send them my comments or?
No.
No, okay, so, sorry. All right, the first thing is, there is a stream on the property.
There's an intermittent stream,
Well, it shows on the USGS map, correct?
as an intermittent stream. Any dashed line on the USGS from the
Oh, was it
1970s.
dash? I didn't.
It looked like.
It's okay,
it was
but I do have the
solid
It
mass
looks-
mapper,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I checked on USGS.
Yes.
Because it looked like
A mass
dotted
mapper
with a,
is
with a
deceiving.
solid on
But
it.
to answer your question, because I looked at that too, 200 foot from that intermittent, which wouldn't really apply, is actually right along the threshold right in here. So we wouldn't even be doing any work on that.
I thought the stream was closer to that.
It's,
It would
I
be
guess what I'm-
nice to
it's
have it.
right here.
We probably need to do yeah, I'd like it on the plan.
Oh, you won't even see it on the plan. That's what I'm gonna show right here. So our house is situated right here. Okay, you can take my word on that for a second. And then the GIS line of this stream runs right through here,
Yeah,
okay? So when you take 200 foot, we're not doing any work in that 200 foot from that wetland line. That GIS stream line, the intermittent stream.
the second comment I had is, there is a FEMA floodplain here, 100-year floodplain.
Yep.
Does show up on Mass Mapper, but, you guys need to put it on there. It is land subject to flooding,
Okay,
and
so
it's not there, with the submittal I got anyway.
the zone line is shown here. It's an X and an A, so it's an A without an elevation. So this is the flood zone by location
Yeah, when I
and not elevation.
looked at Mass Mapper, the USGS overlay showed it going along this side.
And it zips
It
around.
goes all the way, it
Yep,
includes the replication area.
Yep, so it does include, yes, actually, I do have it shown right here. So what it does is it has this finger, because this is a ditch along the stone wall. And so it does have this finger that goes around, and then it comes around, and it does circle into here, floodplain right here.
So that needs to be shown on the map, and anything that, either grading or even if you're putting a replication area there, we're gonna have to see some, make sure that we have compensatory storage for anything you fill for the flood.
Yes, okay.
So certainly the crossing, you're gonna need compensatory storage for, you may be able to combine it with the replication area.
Well, that's what I was just envisioning,
Yeah.
we can
And
show
the
the
replication
elevations.
area, though, is in the 100-year floodplain, which is probably not bad, but.
It's not bad, but now that you've mentioned that, I probably would elongate it a little bit more
I
this
think
way.
that would be smart to move it, because it's kind of like, how do you deal with the compensatory
Right,
storage
you can't
issue?
really compensate right here. Right.
So that was,
That's an easier fix.
yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, the wetlands flags, the numbers aren't shown on the plan. Can we get because I went to go look at what Ken did, and there's no numbers on the plans that we sent him. Yeah, so if we could get the numbers, that will help us, because we'll want to do a site walk.
Yep.
And so we can,
Well, if you would like to do a site walk, those flags probably aren't there, so you probably want me to refresh the flags.
yes, we do. Sorry, I'm speaking for you guys, but yes.
Well, no, I mean, this is everything that we've just gone through with a lot of the others. Like when we did peer review for another project, he had to go out and have it all
Absolutely.
reflagged.
Yes,
Because
it's
of,
over here.
you know, wind and rain and everything else
That
flagged.
happens a lot.
Right.
So if we can, at some point, schedule that, and I can have it flagged or refreshed before we go.
And, you know, the intermittent stream needs to be put on, like Kathy said, because, you know, we've had other issues on other properties with intermittent streams as well, trying to determine where the banks are, what the width is, and everything else.
But it wouldn't fit on this page.
It's not within 200 feet of where we're working.
It's not within 200 feet, if
Okay.
is what we're doing.
That's why.
So I could show it on the locus, but you, it's
Okay.
way over there,
Okay.
way off.
How long would it take you to get the flags established? We could set up a meeting. Could we do it before the next meeting, or?
When is the next meeting? It's very wooded out there.
You know, one of the things I also found with using some of the maps, and I've been told this from, I had to call Mac, because looking at some of the maps, you know, they get distorted every time they're superimposed into another type of format, and what looks like one thing in one area gets, I mean, a perfect example is on 150, I don't want to mention, but, you know, the stream was located on a map in one area, but physically when you went there, it was in a completely different area.
Right.
It was probably 60, 70 feet away.
Right.
And again, I'm just trying to get as much information, and that's my thing, is to gather as much information I can to make a solid decision.
And I know Ken had actually went that far, so.
Okay.
Because we do have some flags.
Okay, I didn't find the local filing fee form. Did you guys pay the local filing fee? Okay, so mine just not have been in my package, but that was
It
on
was
my
attached
list.
to the back of it.
By the way, guys, I used the checklist,
Oh, did you?
and I
So
found
did I.
it was phenomenal. I have a couple of things I want to add, but I thought it was great, because it just, we're coming up with a checklist so people know what we need before they come, so we save consultant
Yes.
time and save our time too.
I like
Yeah, and
checklists.
just a little piece of information, this, nothing to do with the map, but on this NOI, when you have a difference, if the owner is the same as the applicant, that's fine, you have to list them, but when they're different, you still have to fill that area out as well. This is one of the things Ian drilled into us about making sure that the information is complete.
Okay, you said there was a construction entrance. I must have missed it.
I had notes, it was a note. It wasn't visually shown on the plan, we would show up, I don't even know this is, add a construction entrance. I can add a separate page if you'd like to see the details as
Yes,
opposed to
please.
just notes.
Yes,
That's
please.
fine. So I would show
and-
a construction entrance right here, so they wouldn't be tracking any dirt
Exactly,
on or off the site.
exactly. We would show up in our orders of
Yeah.
conditions, but I'd like to see it on the plan.
Absolutely.
I think it would be easier. Let's see. Oh, did we get a construction protocol of what, you know, how you're gonna sequence all of this?
Not yet.
Okay, we will get that too. Yeah. Sean's taking
Because
notes.
I normally, I normally have, I did the sequence for the replication area.
Oh, well, I have a comment on that, but I think we'll let handle that. Let's see, let's see, did I get everything else?
I had something written down.
That's from there were two things that don't apply at this point, because we haven't initiated the checklist yet, because you guys filed just before it. But the site access form and a digital copy of the filing didn't come, but that's because you didn't know, so, not a big deal.
She did a nice job color coding the
Yes,
the
they
plans.
Yeah, she did.
It's a lot easier for us to
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
Oh,
What is the yellow
The 100-foot buffer,
and the blue?
the wetlands.
Okay.
and then the red is
This is a 25-foot.
and is that where you're gonna put the silt fence?
No, we're gonna, well, depends on where we are. If we're along the wetlands, it'll be right up against where we're doing the work. And then this is the erosion control silt fence, this green tree line. So we weren't gonna clear cut the whole lot, it was just gonna be a usable
Can you
area.
show where you're gonna put the siltation on the map, please?
It's to here.
It's right there.
Would you like me to bring it closer to you?
Oh, I just can't see it from here.
Okay,
Is it it's already
it's
there?
on there, yes.
And it's on there for the?
It encircles the whole site and it actually comes up all in here,
Okay,
all in here.
okay, cool. All right, he's got the map open, so.
Yep.
You got the cheat sheet.
He's not sharing.
Yeah, well, we all have one,
We all
it's
have
just that
copies.
there's not
We
enough.
have a copy.
Yeah, I mean,
I almost brought handouts.
It's okay, we have them, it's just they're huge. Let's see, and I think the last thing was to go back to you for the replication plan.
Yes.
So, for For the replication plan, what I would like to see is, I know that it's there and I can see the
Yeah.
species and everything, but what I would like to see is everything addressed according to the DEP replication manual.
So what I would do is I would have Ken Thompson, who did the flagging, provide a replication plan.
Right.
So
And a
he'll-
narrative
And a narrative,
format.
and he will probably oversee it and supervise it.
Okay, and the other thing that happened with the previous property is, we didn't get a replication map of where each plant species would go.
Yeah, no, he will do that as well. Yeah,
Okay,
we've done
so that
already.
would be great to have.
That would be very helpful
Absolutely.
because it's very hard to envision when you're sitting there looking at,
And he would probably do a pre-inspection just to see what's salvaged, what can be saved, what can be worked around in that particular area that, now that we're moving it. So I'll have him do a pre-eval and see what, if anything, is species that should stay
Yeah.
around it.
And then if this plan were approved, where would, like, soil, dirt be stored during construction?
So I don't anticipate a lot of stockpiling. They're gonna actually have to bring more on site than leave. So I don't anticipate stockpiling. If anything for the house, we would have an erosion control measure around it while they were doing it. But I don't anticipate any stockpiling. They're gonna have to bring in that more than anything.
Okay.
So, no storage.
Paul, I think we should see if Sean wants to address what's on this letter from DEP, but I think everybody else should have a chance if they have anything else first.
Anybody else have any questions?
I just have one notice, in terms of the erosion and sedimentation control, there's mention of hay bales.
I think I had to
No.
both, they straw wattle and maybe a note for a hay bale.
Yeah, because there was
Yeah.
a straw wattle
Because-
over there, and then, but it still said hay bales for the water quality inlet protection.
So you're gonna go off the detail that's on the
Yeah,
top corner?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, I will go after the straw wattle.
It'll be straw instead.
Water quality inlet, usually if there's a catch basin, if they just put some hay bales around it to keep it from getting sediment in it, and or out near an outlet, I'll usually have the hay bales. And sometimes I like hay bales in the wetlands a little bit better, because they kind of do a lot of work. Wattles don't stay still very well. So depending on the situation, I do sometimes recommend hay bales or a more sturdy silt fence with a straw wattle in the wetland area.
We could put double hay bales in, right? Or hay bales and
I don't like to
something.
put hay bales at all.
I don't either because of the simple fact that they bring in all of the seeds and everything.
They do that too, right, so
Yeah.
I have done, wattle with silt fence
I think that's
successfully.
probably the best way to do it.
There you go.
When the tight areas, like where you really wanna make sure that they don't, so, in areas where it's open, I usually just do the wattle, it's easier to clean up. And then in the areas of the wetlands, we can show silt fence and wattle
Sounds good.
Yeah.
back.
And can we make sure that they're
Yes.
compostable, how do you say that?
Compost.
Compostable.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
It'll break down.
Yeah, we just, but the
not
problem is we
composite.
have to make you come in and
Yes.
take the
Right.
plastic out, otherwise
Yeah,
we
no,
right.
don't
The
want to do
the
that.
biodegradable ones are better because you don't have to
Yeah.
cut them
Right.
up after.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I also, it looks like, what I like is that you do, if you're gonna, if this is approved, the replication area would be right up against the wetlands, but I think it's important to make certain that we do have that line appropriately defined.
Yes.
So if we could have some, I don't know, if we go out there or have a peer review, just make sure those boundaries are actually correct, not off by 10, 20, 30 feet.
Well, we're gonna put the flags on the plan, and I'm gonna email you a new plan, first and foremost, before any other revisions. We're gonna relocate the flags, refresh them. And while they're out there, I can stake or have markers that say potential replication area. You can look at it.
Make an
See if it
adjustment.
make any sort of assessments based on what you see out there. Maybe over here is a little bit better when you actually get out there. I haven't actually walked the site yet, but we'll do that. It's the poison ivy.
Well,
I know. Last week when they were walking through the poison ivy, I'm like,
Over
Tim gets the award for
He
bushwhacking.
did, he did.
He went first.
he went right through all of the marsh and everything.
So
Like,
we'll just do that in the right sequence where you see the new flags, I'll refresh the flags, I'll put stakes out there so you can see this is the potential area for replication, and then make it easier for the review process.
How easy, Sean, is it to get in there?
Not very.
I've never been out there myself, and I'm
Not very.
allergic to poison ivy, so you won't see me joining it.
Yeah.
This is where I wear long sleeves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I can facilitate a sidewalk if that's easier, so I can guide you.
Yes, that would be actually helpful.
Get a couple goats out there a week before. Anybody else have any questions? Only question I have, well, two questions.
Rich.
No.
Go ahead, question.
Not yet. Your entrance from Groveland Street, how much lower is that than coming in, than from where the elevation of where the house is gonna be? Couple feet?
You mean Linwood?
No, from Groveland.
If you would do.
You'd have to do a lot of filling and.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fill. I
Yeah.
actually had the number in my bag if you really needed it.
You'd have
It-
more FEMA issues and more
Yeah.
wetland issues.
Yep.
Yeah, because then you're actually crossing the intermittent stream.
Right.
You don't really want to do
Right.
that. You-
No, this is-
you
yeah, this is
trigger
definitely-
Army Corps because you're definitely past that point of.
Yep.
And that's, they actually, in the DEP notes, they actually are looking for an alternate evaluation, so you guys can provide a narrative to tell us why, and maybe that square footage could be in there, because that would help.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I
it
didn't
does
see
look
the whole DEP
significant.
comment.
It's in the notice.
Oh, you only sent me a
This one here.
snippet.
It's in your snippets.
Is your intent to change the address?
Yeah, we were assuming that the assessors would change it. If this gets approved, the entrance, quote unquote, now new frontage is Linwood Street, they would assign a number, which would, you can take that. We just received, as you said, we received that yesterday, so we haven't really had time to even talk about it.
We have an extra one.
No, I have extras too.
Okay.
I brought some here to make sure you had it, which I think I had emailed a copy to the secretary just to get it filed with you. Our goal is to try to make this a, I want to say it's negative, the simplest plan possible, to make it a residential driveway, try to keep the costs down so it's a single-family house and it works.
And
We've
least
had-
impact.
It
Yeah,
it certainly
exactly.
seems like you're
Yeah.
making the least impact.
Right, because
Right.
we've had issues in other spots where requirements, whether it be DEP requirements or other things, generated costs to go up, and that then pushes you to try to say, we have to put a second house out there to try to pay for the costs of the entranceway. I think we can pull this off with a single driveway and a single house. That's our goal. So all these requests and stuff are great. We want it to be picture perfect, no problem. We hired SAA because they're good at what they do. And we'll try to go down that checklist. I did my best to kind of keep up with you.
I'll give you I can give you this.
Okay, that'd be helpful. And obviously, we'd come back or resubmit an updated plan, but the house itself, we still stay in the same area. What they're, just speaking to the neighbors through you, Mr. Chairman, is they're more concerned with delineating with the wetlands areas, protecting the wetlands areas, things that are kind of around the house. I'm assuming a lot of the neighbors also want to know where's the house. So this plan also shows that too.
All right, the other question I have, the 12-inch equalizer pipe. I don't see a detail on it. What's that gonna be made out of?
RCP.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Oh, and I see it.
yeah, it
Down in
was
the-
kind of like in here. Yeah, not very well. It just said extend 6 inches. Okay, so it'll be RCP. We
And
don't have a lot of covers.
are you gonna have any sort of screen or something in front of it?
For a 12-inch, because I don't anticipate, I usually screen them when they're 18 or bigger.
'Cause my concern is just if that thing isn't maintained, you're gonna get flooding. I'd almost like to see a second
A twin?
second one further up, not right next to it, further
Yeah.
upstream. That way, if that one gets plugged
Yep.
up
I can do that.
before any flooding takes place, it'll
Well,
spill out
I
into
would
the other one.
believe, I would separate the two, so it'd be a little
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's the point where the lowest, so I need to kind of be right there within reason to get cover over that. So yes, we can do 12 inches.
And the other thing, if it gets approved, I think when we do the order of conditions, there needs to be something in there where, when the house is sold, there's gotta be something where the applicant has, whoever buys the house, some sort of letter saying that they take responsibility to make sure that that 12-inch pipe is maintained, so that 5-10 years from now, you guys don't get blamed for that thing being plugged up, because
Right.
whoever purchases the house knows that they
Yeah.
own it.
For their own benefit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You did have a question in the audience.
Anybody else from the board have any
So
questions?
Can we have, Sean, do you have any answers to any of these, or?
To be honest with you, I haven't had time to even go through them.
Okay.
She's asking about the DEP letter that
Yeah.
gives you the number, and then they had a couple of comment suggestions. So
Oh, I didn't even read it.
um,
I just got it.
we'll certainly respond to kind of fill in any blanks that they want.
Yeah, they asked for an alternates analysis. They're also asking, is it feasible for you to get an easement on one of the abutting properties to get in there?
141.
No.
Yeah.
It-
I mean, you just,
Yeah.
I think you just need to provide an answer to
Yeah,
this.
right.
I mean, I don't know what the answer is. And,
They want a more intuitive replication plan. They want bordering land subject to flooding, which is one of the comments you had. We are not in rare endangered species habitat.
what does demonstrate compliance with do you know what that section is? I don't know what that is. It's wetlands. right?
It's bordering land subject to flooding, so we
Okay.
have to just demonstrate that we, probably the compensatory storage section.
Probably. And yet, I think the delineation on the map and then,
Well, I'll have a response for every comment.
That
I'll
would be
list it all
perfect.
out.
You know, one of the things with Abington, we don't have to have a certified vernal pool. It could be a potential vernal pool, and I'm sure the abutters around it would know in fact, if in fact they hear.
there's no, I don't, we don't know if there's a vernal pool out there.
There's not a vernal
There is.
pool
There is.
on
Okay, and that's-
this
Not on our
property,
property.
Right.
but on 135.
Next door.
Right.
Oh,
But I wanna know how far away that vernal pool is from
Right.
the proposed work.
There is a
It's-
potential vernal
no,
pool that
it's-
Ken found on the property.
No.
You're thinking of the front one.
Yeah, I'm thinking front.
But there is, and that's way over there.
Yeah, I think we talked about that when you came before us for the lot on Wood Street.
So, the potential vernal pool was flagged by Ken, and it was located, and it's right over here, give or take. So it's actually outside that 200-foot kind of zone that we were just discussing, because it's right here. I can show it on a larger plan.
But there's something else about on 135.
There, yes, I
And
believe
what
there
there's
is,
a
that's 135, is it in the front?
Yeah,
The ponding area? I don't have a plan of
It's-
that.
yeah, I did, actually.
There is,
It's not on our property.
it's not on our property.
Mr. Warner had forwarded an email to Tony, who's kind enough to forward it to me, so I could kind of look at it beforehand, and I think you guys have copies.
Oh, we did. I didn't know that. I missed it.
But one of
Just
the
didn't
neighbors
notice.
had a question, because there's an existing, and again, I don't want to get into it too much, because it's not our property, and we don't have any
I think
ability
she
to
just
go
wanted to
somewhere.
know how far it is.
Exactly, well, that's why, hold on, I had a copy of this for you. There are two houses down the street from us that had a vernal pool in the front yard, and the houses were approved a number of years ago. And apparently there's a 12-inch pipe, I don't know if that neighbor's here. Okay, great. There's a 12-inch pipe that empties from that area to your property.
Yes.
Oh, here it is, right here. Sorry, I was,
But that's both off the property and out of the buffer zone, right? This is,
so this is the plan I found at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds of the neighbor's houses down the street.
Oh, cool.
Sean.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get this.
This is an extra copy.
Thank you. So this, I would prefer that this be taken up on a totally different agenda item because it's not our property.
Yeah.
Right,
But I
right,
understand the question came up because we're talking about Conservation Commission.
right.
So this is that jog in the plan, so the
Yeah.
driveway's here, and this is the area of
Right.
this wet, we'll call it a vernal pool, because that's what it is, right here.
Mrs. McCall and Mr. Jansky?
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry if I butchered your name. That's the one they were issued with. We're not affecting that in any way, okay?
So my question would be,
Through the chair.
Hold on.
sorry,
You gotta wait till we're done.
Okay.
I'll open up to the public after.
Sorry, didn't mean to lead you on there.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, well, how far is that away from wherever you're proposing work?
Okay, so, again, it's right here, and if this is 350 feet, so we are probably 200 feet away from it, in each
That's good.
direction. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
God, I gotta dig mine out now.
For
Yes,
sure.
that should be.
For sure.
So we got 36, let's say 300 from property line to where it potentially is here, and probably 260, give or take.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So that is outside the buffer?
Yeah.
So the portion of the wetland that's gonna be filled for the new driveway proposed on Linwood Street, in that general vicinity of the wetlands, there is no potential for a vernal pool? This
No.
is what we would see if we walked out there and got to see it firsthand.
Correct, there's a ditch here.
I'm talking about the green, am I looking at the same thing that you
Yeah,
are?
yeah.
The green thing
But
right here.
there's no, again, Ken did look, and
Okay.
he did identify one way off here, 200 feet that way.
Okay. And the only reason why I'm asking is because, I mean, I'm not that far from this street, so, and I know as a kid, we used to drive down this
So
street.
nothing in this
I know the area.
immediate contact with the wetland area,
Okay.
because their notification of a vernal pool, or potential vernal pool. It was
Okay.
closer to the intermittent stream, 200 feet. We can go look at it.
Yeah,
You'd have to walk a long way, but you could look.
well,
Hey, it's
Yep.
the joy.
it is.
Anything else? Now we'll open up to the public. You just get up to the table and state your name and address.
My name is Brian McCullough, and I live at 141 Linwood Street. So my question is, this vernal pool that's right here, and the pipe that goes underneath, when I bought the house, that nothing was here, and the water just naturally flowed through the back of my yard this way. So now this pipe gets clogged that's in this driveway, and my yard is wetter, much wetter because of it.
That's fine.
What kind of guarantee that this isn't gonna clog up and push all that water back this way that normally, flows that way?
I'll move up a little.
Yeah, the pipe.
And where is 141?
This is 141.
Okay, all right.
This is 141.
Directly abutting.
Right,
Yes.
correct.
Yes. So the only answers I have at the moment would be his idea that there's not a restriction, but a maintenance on the property. So that the homeowner knows that they have to maintain the culvert. That's the only mechanism that we would have, you would have. You would be able to call the conservation, say it's not being maintained. They would be able to put an enforcement order or something.
That would give you a remedy in the event of there was an issue.
So there is a possibility that, I don't have to fight with somebody
Yeah.
about it,
Yes.
right?
Right.
If there's a
Okay.
document on record for the next homeowner to understand that this culvert has to be maintained, that would be
Okay.
the mechanism that you would need to ensure.
That plus, if you add the second pipe up, upstream of it, it'll, if one
Alleviate
blocks
it.
up, before it floods to your property, it'll
Yeah,
go to
Add
the
some
other one.
redundancy.
okay.
And honestly, in my old house, if we had to drain out my backyard, I would just tell my neighbor, do you mind if I go out there and clear it up? Just be a good neighbor, tell them, hey, it's clear, can you go clear it up because it's blocking up? Sometimes that's the quickest, easiest thing instead of coming to these guys.
Yeah, but when you're talking a length like that, how do you clean it?
Well,
Well,
not
it's
just
only a
that,
16-foot driveway, so.
if it's gonna flood probably back to the new house anyways, before it
Yeah,
gets to you.
Yeah,
That's true.
Just looking at the topography.
You're higher up, so
Yeah.
you're at like 150, where this is all down gradient. So the chances of it would go this way.
Whoever
before it
purchases
comes
the
this
house
way.
is gonna wanna clean that thing out
Yeah,
before.
it's gonna
before
come
you're
this way, it's
wanna
gonna
clean-
head towards the new house before it really heads to your house.
okay,
Yeah, I
as
know.
long as
Yeah.
that doesn't clog.
If for some reason it doesn't go this way under, it will go this way. The topography will take it still to the lowest point, which is still the wetlands.
Okay.
and adding the second pipe will just give you another sense of relief.
Yeah, a little security, yeah, okay.
Um,
Like I said, that's, if it gets approved, that's something we would put in the order of conditions where
It would be
the
in
life of the property,
perpetuity.
somebody is going to have to maintain that, and it's gonna be on record. So if you
It's
see it's not,
recorded.
if you see it's not being maintained, call up conservation, say, those 12-inch pipes are dammed up.
Yeah.
Could you
okay.
get in touch with the property owner, tell them they have to
Okay.
remediate?
All right.
Anything else from the audience? Step right up.
Good evening, my name is Janet Rafensky, 135 Linwood Street. I have several concerns. A little more than a year ago, we had a meeting about the 3 houses to be built on the Smith property. And at the time, the Glenarla Point Company was in the process of raising the Smith house. I stood and I questioned about the wetlands behind my house because it is flagged. I was assured, I pointed and the whole body was told that no more houses were going to be built beyond those 3 houses. And now we are back here. You have given the developer a bite of the apple and he's coming back for more. I'm very confused with the 2 notices from the 2 meetings. That it's a single-family house to be built on 12+ acres. Doesn't the other side of this diagram show 3 houses on a cul-de-sac?
No, that, okay, so,
Okay, this is very confusing.
so, this is the 3 lots that were approved up on the corner of Linwood and Grove.
Mhm.
Okay, this is what was approved. When the LaPointes came to us and asked us, what's the potential for the lot? We said, well, you have enough land to do a 3-lot subdivision. So this is a conceptual layout, this is not.
All right, that was not said before, conceptual.
Conceptual. This
But
was
when, it's going to become actual though someday.
No,
Well, last year we were told,
okay,
we were told specifically that there were not going to be built beyond 3 houses.
okay,
You know,
this is a
please-
conceptual layout. This is how we sometimes value the land, if you were to sell it to a developer who may want to do this. This is how they can see, do I want to spend this kind of money? They're choosing not to. They're choosing to do the single-family home.
on 12+ acres.
Someone's gonna have a lovely little retreat area back there.
This is what concerns me though, because that is a lot of buildable land, and there is no more buildable land being made in Abington. So what you're doing, you're increasing the population density. We are in the middle of a water crisis. So what we are doing right here, we are going to be cutting down trees, destroying vegetation, filling in wetlands, and we're only going to be increasing the drought crisis. Is any of this being considered? Also, it's a strain on the sewer system, adding to the schools. The intersection of Groveland and Linwood Street is a dangerous intersection. So here we are adding more traffic, and nothing's been
Yeah, but that's
done.
not, that has nothing to do with conservation.
No, but I understand that,
This is for sale.
but where is it said that every single undeveloped lot has to be filled in?
And
That's not for us.
they wanna put in more wetlands than what they're filling in.
You know, it just seems duplicitous that we were not told that beyond those 3 buildings on the Smith property, that more houses were going to be done.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but we're respectfully, ma'am, I believe that we are alleviating some of your concerns by taking those 3 properties off of the table here. So your concerns about traffic, public utility usage, those are being decreased in this plan. So I don't believe that we will run into a problem of someone trying to sell their front yard in this case. It's 1 house, 12-point-something acres, beautiful, wish I could afford it, but I think that's the end here.
But
So I'm just confused by what you're,
because there was a statement that you guys made earlier, oh, we've got this little area of upland that's farther. Now, is there going to be a plan to build there?
No, there's no access.
Okay.
So of this 12.53 acre of land, this area here consists of how much of upland that can be developed?
This is 2.6.
2.6 for a single-family home, and in that 2.6, there's no other possibility that any other homes would be.
We are venturing into.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We're
We
getting
are-
off subject,
We're-
I'm
We
sorry.
are, sorry, but we really should focus
On the wetlands delineation.
Yeah, the
Okay.
wetlands and what's presented here, we only have
Right.
authority
Right.
to, what they submit to us, we only have authority to address it. We don't have authority
No,
for
I
water,
understand
sewer,
that.
schools. I understand your
Your
concerns, and certainly they are valid, and you should, you have some concerns, you should talk at the zoning meeting or other meetings, look, water and sewer. But for us, we should focus on the wetlands,
certainly.
and I think we're just kind of getting off subject.
All right, well, I do have a question then, because based on your diagram, I wasn't sure how close you're going to be building to the border of my backyard. I'm at 135. So how much of a buffer would there be?
Quite a bit.
This is 135 right
This is
here.
135, and you're back here.
Yes.
So this represents 100 feet right here, so we are,
Want the scale again?
note to self, be prepared.
She's gonna put it in her bag for the next meeting.
Yeah, you're gonna
Back
lose it.
pocket. Okay, so, 30, hang on, sorry, one moment. Okay, so, if your house is sitting back here, the house is over 200 feet. The house itself, not the necessarily.
And what is the lot size of the proposed house that you want to build, that you're,
The lot will be the 12.8
12.8
acres. They will get the whole lot.
Right, but the upland, I think that's what she's referring to.
It's the 2 acres of upland.
Right, so in other words, ma'am, what it is they can only work within a certain parameter. Anything outside of that, they can't go into a wetland, and maybe there should be permanent markers on that property stating that
Like
these
we
are
did.
boundaries and you cannot go past this mark to fill or dump leaves or anything else, because that's all not acceptable through DEP regulations.
And anything else that they want to do, the whole thing is encompassed in the 100-foot buffer, they would have to come back. Say they want to put a barn, say they want to, they would have to come back.
and my overall concern is the seeming contortions that the builder has to do, having the address on Groveland Street, but yet having the driveway.
Again, that's zoning, that's got nothing to do with,
And that-
we have no say on that.
And that would be
So-
rectified.
For us, that's less of a replication on the wetlands,
Yep.
because it wouldn't be coming off
Right,
Groveland.
the impact is
Mhm.
kept,
minimal.
not minimal, but smaller, yeah.
Oh,
Because
much
there are
smaller.
hydraulic connections between the two wetland areas. There's also the intermittent stream that you'd be dealing with had you come in through Groveland.
If you go on to Mass Mapper,
I'll
the
show you a picture.
website, you can actually, it's a great resource, an overlay of all kinds of
Right.
information, but you can see how most of that property is just wetlands,
Mhm.
and it would be very
Here's the
difficult to
proposed
build on.
entranceway. These are the two wetlands. There's your property over here.
Yes,
That's
thank
Mass
you.
Plus, they're
Mapper,
only
that's where you
proposing
find
one
it.
house.
It's
They
on-
could
on the
end
Mass
up
State
putting three,
website. Right.
three houses in here.
If I can, hopefully, to address your critical concern, we are here asking the Conservation Commission to grant approval, what they call an order of conditions, which would allow and restrict us to only a 16-foot wide driveway and a single-family house. We're gonna then go to the zoning board for the same thing. They would, hopefully, would allow, we need a variance to build a driveway instead of a road, just the way the zoning thing reads. That would be a driveway only sufficient for the one house, so that, the zoning decision would likely, and we would hope it would say, restricted to one single-family home. If you were to try to put a second home out there, then you need a subdivision, now you need a roadway, now you need a planning board. We're not asking for that, we're not getting permitted for that, and they're restricting us from doing that, if they were to approve what we submitted.
So far, but it's like getting the camel's
But that's
nose
all-
under the tent.
This is all that's before us, this is all we can talk about.
But this is conservation, correct?
Correct.
All right, so the green
You
area.
gotta get up here and state your name.
Name
and
and
address.
address.
Hi, I'm Phil Patterson, 125 Linwood Street.
Hi.
So I'm a little confused. This is conservation. The
Right.
green area is demarked as conservation.
It falls within the Wetland Protection Act, correct?
There's actually, could you show them where the wetland, just follow the wetland line?
Okay, so the blue here is actually the wetland, okay? So everything behind here is the wetland.
So you have to go through the wetlands to get to the house.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That's what
So if you don't approve it, because what Jan was trying to say earlier, what we all heard last year with the builder, was he took a gamble when he bought, when a woman's house, which you all know the big brown house, and they lived there for years, they owned all this land. He knew when he bought the land, tons of land, that he's gonna get at least 3 houses out of this, because he did.
Yes.
But made it, I thought clear to us that he was done then, and he wasn't going back there at all. And he shook someone's hand, who I'm not sure they're here tonight, saying there's be no building back there. Yeah, here we are a year later, and now it's 1 house versus 3, I get it, but it was 0 last year. So, and again, to get to your point again, just like little by little, we've lived there for 30 years, we love it, it's a great town. We spent almost $20,000 getting water out of our basement, and the picture is very pretty, but, you know, nature does what it wants to do. So, I don't think any of us want really any more water, and unless you want to pay the bill, and I'll bring it with me next time if you want. It's a lot of money to keep it dry. And then the houses, different meeting, but across the street they were built, same thing, no water. One guy already moved because of water in the basement. So I have a P&S that says a guaranteed dry basement. The month after we moved in, 4 inches of water in the basement. Hence 20 grand in over the years of stuff to do. So that's where we're kind of coming up with our concerns. On the map there with the green area, it's already, someone already said at some point in time, this is special land, wetlands, whatever, leave it alone. And you want to get permission to not leave it alone anymore. So is it just a matter of keep coming back every year and turning more wetlands into buildable land? Because it looks like that says you can't build there. And if they can't get in, nothing can go back there. So I think we're just we want to protect back there based on when we all moved in, that was the rule. So we pay a lot of money to live here, like you all do, and want to protect that area, I guess the way to put it. And we always thought it was because they can't get in with a road or a driveway because they'd have to go get permission from you to go over protected land. So it's almost like if you vote for it, you're not protecting the land anymore. So that's just where I was. I mean, it's very pretty, but.
Ultimately, the property owner, once they own the property, they have the right to make these proceedings and have use of their property. What they're talking here on the delineation, they're reproducing more of the wetlands, adding some additional protection that's gonna essentially, with the topography, give you better drainage in that area so that you're not gonna have those potential things.
So it's okay to swap out some protected wetlands for other protected wetlands?
There is a threshold
Okay.
that's allowed.
Okay, I don't know, I'm just asking.
So when the 3 lots were created on Groveland and Linwood.
Yep.
We had the botanists look at a portion of the property, because it's a very large property here. So when the LaPointes decided, is there anything else, let's take a chance, send the botanist back out. And this is what he came back with. He says, wow, you've got a little gem of a backyard here. All you gotta do is try to get across the wetland. 5,000 is the magic number. Anything more than that, and you trip federal regs, you trip all kinds of other stuff, which is why we don't want to come in through Groveland ever again, because we need a helicopter. So for
12 acres, it could be done.
I propose that, can we get a helicopter instead, that'd be kind of cool.
except every night when you're coming home at work. So they took a chance, they had a flag, they did find wetlands. It does happen, not too often, but it does happen. So once we satisfy the conservation with this, how they want to see it, how they want to replicate it, this is it. There's really nothing else. This will be the end of this one. This will seal the deal. There will be no other way to get into any of this other land.
You're saying that now. We heard this last year.
I don't know who said that, but okay.
Just the whole point, he was
I heard
upstairs,
that.
like he shook the gentleman's hand,
Yes.
telling him nothing to go
Yes.
back there.
At the time, maybe he didn't know.
At the zoning hearing?
Not
Zoning
zoning
here.
here.
Oh, here? Oh,
It's
there we
upstairs,
go.
in the room upstairs.
Yeah.
Is
I
the
remember
positioning of the
that.
property,
That's what I
of the
was
building
thinking.
on that property gonna prohibit any additional
There's no
additions?
more frontage, there's no
Okay.
more access, it's only Groveland and this, and Groveland is 90% wet. You could pull a car off, you could access if you wanted to do all the federal replication and not for a single family home.
So Lynn, you were at that
That would be
meeting?
cost prohibitive.
Yeah, because I remember you said there was nothing else that could be built there. That's what I heard.
We
I
have
don't
another
remember
question.
what was said, but
Well,
what I
how
would
you
normally
wanted-
say, in all my years I've been doing this, was if there was anything to be proposed down here, you would all have to be notified because you'd have to go through conservation, planning, and or zoning. What we were doing back then, we weren't touching any of that land back there because we didn't even investigate it. We didn't do any wetland surveys. We didn't really know what was out there at the time. And I said, my best recollection, I would have said, if anything happens there, you will all have to be notified.
Right, but you don't live there, we do, so we
I
do.
do.
But, and we were all there, and we do remember,
Yes.
point blank, what's gonna happen, because, it's our backyard.
Oh,
But
no, I
it's
completely understand.
not even, it could be a beautiful home, lovely. It's not even that. But again, the water issue, water moves where it wants to move. And again, since 30 years that I've been here, it hasn't done what somebody 30 years ago, and with pretty pictures, told me it was gonna do. We get a lot of water, which is now finally controllable. I really don't wanna spend 20 grand more to build a moat because more water, I know, I'm being facetious, but
No, I
it's
think
been a big issue for a long time.
I mean, it's your investment, your life investment. and
Absolutely.
I
I mean,
understand.
there's mold, it gets really complicated after a while.
But also, this property was somebody else's investment, and we're kind of getting out of our jurisdiction once again. So I
Well-
just think that we got to.
Look, so my original question, because this is conservation.
Agreed.
They're proposing to build on what's deemed right now as a conservation wetland area. So I just wanted to understand, but you're saying that's
Well,
okay,
they
because they're gonna put
explained
in
that
more,
there-
so you
there
can
is-
swap out
that
wetlands.
There is a little bit
Yes.
of
Okay,
that
that's
that
what I
can
wanted.
take
Yes,
place.
yes, we allow,
One-to-one
the
replication is the
DEP, we
bylaw.
have state regulations that we follow.
Yep.
And the state regulations allow them to fill up to 5,000 square feet without, with us being able to say yes.
Right.
They could, because it's a driveway, probably even do more if they had to as a limited project. But as you stated, triggers a whole mess more of regulations. So they are doing the minimal they can to get in there.
Wait, okay.
To get into the property, to access it. I'm not, I'm not making a
No,
comment
it's okay.
one way or the other. So, it's a little under 5,000 square feet, right?
Yep.
And they have the ability to propose it, and they're within the regulation requirements
Yep.
with everything we've asked.
Yep, can I ask one more question? I think it's the right question, if I'm not gonna yell.
No,
So, with a driveway, like, where we live, we couldn't tar the driveway, because we know the vernal pond, so we have to have a non-paved driveway. You know, over the years,
I was gonna
Janet
ask that
and
question.
I have
Yeah.
has spent,
Yeah.
again, thousands of dollars to keep this up, because nature changes in
Yeah.
schools. So is this gonna be paved or not paved, and how you gonna, because I'm afraid it's gonna sink, frankly. So I'm just wondering the proposed driveway, because we have almost the same one, and ours needs a lot of repair, and we can't pave ours, so.
Yeah, they're showing paved.
It's
Yeah,
I was
proposed-
gonna suggest that
It's
some kind
proposed to
of
be
hard
paved.
gravel.
I was gonna pave it.
It's
Yeah.
proposed to be
It
paved.
protects the wall, it protects the integrity.
Right. There are benefits to it being paved, much like you said, you have to keep refilling the gravel. And just, as far as replication goes, the plan that I passed out
Yeah.
shows your property.
Yep.
Back before you were there,
Yep.
they got permits to replicate wetlands on your property and the house next door to it. You went through the same, not you, but the prior owners went through this similar process to.
I know, we felt bad, because it was their land that we were going through, and we didn't know it, and they're lovely people, so.
Now we'll have one on both sides, so it's a little concerning.
So, what we're trying to do is comply with wetland protection laws. And what we've submitted does, but we're gonna add more detail to that based on the request from the Conservation
Well, you're
Commission.
trying to maximize building space of land that's available, and it's beautiful land. But again, it just confused them for us, because we were all told last year, this can't ever happen, and it's, here we are. So it's just, I mean, I get it, he owns the land, good for him. But, you know, you can kind of wonder, well, gee, it doesn't matter, it wouldn't matter to you guys.
Why is there a second
Can you get
hearing?
back up here, ma'am?
Oh, sure.
And then we'll get to you next, okay?
Why is there a second hearing on August 11th? This is what's
That's
confusing
got nothing to
too.
do with us.
It's that zoning hearing.
Or is it zoning? Okay. So abutters are given notice of zoning, which is affecting this development. So this is where I should raise my concerns about what
Yes,
I've
I mean,
raised.
this meeting will probably be continued, this hearing will probably be continued, you will not be notified again. So when we continue it, if you stay, you'll know the date, and
You're not gonna get any more letters of meetings.
But if there was any hope that the Conservation Board would refuse, are you within your legal rights to refuse this development? If you deem that it is too damaging to the wetlands?
They've
Or
met all
is
the
it- or is it
re- They're meeting all the requirements.
Yeah,
That they
they're
haven't
meeting
shown that
everything.
they're doing that.
They could do
before it
3
comes
houses in
time.
here.
Yeah.
I think her question's more philosophical, though.
Of course it is, but it's just, we
No, well,
can't do
it-
anything philosophically. We're
by
bound by that
right,
picture
we could, and then
right there.
they'd appeal it to the state,
Yeah.
and get
No,
a
no, it's not
superseding order of conditions.
no, thank you, it's not philosophical, it's legal. Do you have any legal, under Massachusetts bylaws, to stop?
If they didn't follow all the rules from the Wetlands Protection Act and our Abington bylaw, yes. But if they follow all the rules and do everything we ask them,
And address our comments.
address our comments, and that we're all satisfied that they have delineated the wetlands properly and following all the rules, we need to say yes. But you, as abutters, do have the opportunity to appeal it to DEP. And I think you have 10
10
days
days.
after we issue the orders of conditions.
Right.
So
We
you
don't-
still have recourse if you're not happy.
Right. If
And
you
we will tell you
disagree.
that again probably whenever.
We don't get to like just pick the lots that we want to conserve. It doesn't work
We-
like that.
Yes, I see.
We have to follow a set of rules, and we try hard to really make everyone follow them. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
But we still have more hearings, so
Come on up.
we have.
Oh,
My name's Marilyn.
No, she can go, Marilyn can
Oh,
go
okay.
first.
Oh, I thought you were-
My name's Marilyn McAuliffe, and I live on 141 Linwood Street.
Yep.
Brian already spoke, but we have the vernal pool on this side. And then we have the little, the driveway that already went in, which, there is a small 12-inch pipe, but it doesn't work, and we get more water. And then it seeps under our yard, and then it turns into a stream. So I just don't think the 12-inch pipe is gonna work. What about like a bridge that goes over the stream? Because it doesn't just seep into the ground, there's actually a stream there.
We do have a ditch, we do have shots on a ditch that's
Yeah,
right in here.
but a lot of water runs through there in the spring.
Is it
Our
wet
yard
there
is
now?
filled with water, and then it runs into that ditch or stream or brook, whatever you want to call it. So where we're sandwiched in between, I just don't think that the 12-inch pipe doesn't work on one side, so why is it going to work on the other?
No, I need maintenance paper, because that's why I'm keeping all my notes.
Does the 12-inch
There's not
pipe,
even a screen on it, though.
can I ask you, the 12-inch pipe that's from your other neighbor is flowing towards you?
It goes, the vernal pool is right next to where the driveway is. So the pipe goes underneath their driveway. And it's not paved, it's just a dirt driveway.
And what part of it's getting blocked? Their side of it? The
Well,
entrance to the
the whole
pipe?
back of my yard gets
Yeah,
water.
No, I mean the pipe, you said the pipe gets blocked
This
sometimes.
is the first I've heard.
You can't really see it because it's just, it's overgrown, you know, so.
Yeah.
So leaves, litter, debris, just that kind of
anything.
Vegetation.
vegetation. It just needs mosquito control to come in and clean it out.
So do you, I'm sorry, I guess,
That's really
and
needed.
I'm sorry, I don't want to get off the beaten
I think
track
the
here,
bridge is
but
good, yeah.
if the pipe is blocked, that would mean water being retained on their property, and it's not flowing onto your property. Am I
Right,
wrong?
but leaching out in a wider area.
So
So you think you're getting water on your
Yeah,
land because the
now
pipe's
it's a
not
pool.
directing it?
Right, before it was a natural flow through the backyard. And
Okay,
it was, and then it turned into a stream at the other side.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah,
Just trying to
That's
follow
where-
along here.
yeah.
The wetland.
I know it's got nothing to do with it. Can I come over and take a look at it?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Sometime,
perhaps
I
a
mean,
sidewalk.
it's got nothing to do with this project, but I just like to
Yeah.
see what the issue is, if there's a remedy for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with this
I wish you
project.
could come in the spring. It's pretty dry right now.
So is that ditch that they just talked about, is it an intermittent stream?
No, this is just a couple shots on the top and the bottom of the bank of a ditch that followed a stone wall.
How long is it?
It was just right in here. I don't have any demarc on a real ditch after that,
Okay.
but I do vote that we go and look and.
I think that'll
I
answer a
think
lot of
that'll answer a
questions.
lot of
Is
questions.
12 inches the average size for
Yeah.
those pipes? Do they go
Yeah.
bigger? Do
They go bigger, oh, much
Oh,
bigger,
yeah.
but the problem is you need cover over the pipe,
Right.
and then you don't wanna be like 10 feet out of the ground.
Even if you have
So-
one pipe, that one pipe's gonna get blocked up and then you don't have redundancy.
Yeah.
That's why you asked for the second
Well,
pipe.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
And I
two
don't like-
pipes is crucial. Like, I have something similar in my backyard, so I'm just kind of speaking from experience here, like, the 12-inch pipes, if they're not sunk all the way down to the lowest point where the water collects, like mine, they obviously collect more water, so just, I don't know. It's not really a conversation for right now, but just in terms of your plan, either maybe a larger pipe or just some type of.
Well, he suggested 2 pipes.
That's
and
what
Whoa,
we
whoa,
have.
right, no,
Yeah.
2 pipes, yes, I have
Is-
2 as well. I have 12 and then I
Okay.
have 18.
You're gonna have a sub-drain with the retaining wall right
And,
too, right?
and I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
have subdrain, and then we can put more riprap so that it flows
Yep.
through it as opposed to.
You don't want the pipe to be too big so that you have to bring the driveway up over
Yep.
it. That creates other issues. So adding the second 12-inch is better than making the 12 and 18,
Yep.
something like that. I'm not an engineer, I'll trust what SCA ever puts together for you, but
Is the driveway risen, because like, is
About
it,
3 feet to get cover over it.
to go over the pipe.
so all the way in from the street
It-
up
it-
there?
It'll level out, so it comes down the hill, and then it'll level out when it gets over the wetlands. and
Basically,
then-
right where it's green is what you're gonna
That's
match
where
the
the elevation
existing.
is gonna,
No, I mean, I'm sorry, like the left and right sides, so if it's raised up enough,
It's a-
so if water's on the right side, it's gonna flow back to their yard?
no, well, it'll follow the pipes that are in stone that are gonna be parallel with the retaining wall, and it'll find its way, the
Okay.
path of least resistance to the pipe, down gradient, which is not towards any of your homes, is the idea.
I have to canoe soon. Okay.
And like I said, it's all gonna go, the house is at an elevation of 148. Your properties are at an elevation of 149, 150, so you got a foot, 2 feet. That water's gonna have to build up to get to your property.
So again, these pipes with that bend is actually gonna alleviate some of that water flow because it's gonna flow in that direction.
Where is that 149 elevation? Is that in, at the front, is that right at Linwood Street, or?
No, that's at the proposed house,
Yeah, I was gonna say, the street up here is,
158.
This is 158, and then we come down to where we're at the wetlands at 149, and then we stay about 149, 148, and then we come up to the house at 148.
So your low spot is pretty much right at the turn on the driveway, in the green there. So that's, everything's gonna funnel that way to where those two 12-inch pipes will be. Then if both pipes ever get plugged up,
It's
that
just
water's gonna
go this
flow
way.
back to the new house.
And then on the driveway, does that have to pitch in a certain
It
direction?
does. It
Like,
has
is
a
it gonna
crown.
go to my property or
Yeah,
the chip's
quarter
property?
inch per
It
foot
has a
pitch.
crown, so the center line is the high point, and it, like a road, it'll pitch to both sides.
Both sides.
By about 8 feet of the driveway on both sides, and pitch to either side.
Good question. So the elevation of the house, how much fill's gonna be brought in for the house?
I didn't do a calculation on the amount of fill.
For any house, you have to, as you know, when you build a foundation, you have to dig out the existing materials.
Right, but I'm just saying where she pointed out that it went from 150 down to 148 to 149, and this is
We're
where the
going
house is gonna be. So
147.
how high is the house gonna sit?
She's answering.
Oh, sorry.
147 to about a 149 around the house.
Okay,
It's about 2 feet over
okay,
that, on average.
so it's not gonna go above 149.
No.
Okay.
Well, no, maybe at one spot, then we.
Well, I mean, I've seen.
On
plans-
average, no.
Right,
Okay, on average, it should be about 150.
okay. That was my thank you. I appreciate
Now it's your turn.
it. Sorry.
I'm Jim White, 125 Linwood. You answer this, but I can't see from where I'm sitting,
Oh, it's
so I
fine, yeah.
apologize. So and I do like the idea of one house versus three, so I'm not complaining about that. So when it turns in here, they're gonna obviously have to tear down trees, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
How many properties will it be behind that they're tearing trees down?
We're behind 141,
Yep,
and then we taper towards
so
a little
then
bit,
this
a little
will,
bit behind.
135?
Yeah,
Okay, so then this will still be
wooded.
wooded, okay. And then, and I believe you said it, so I apologize if I'm not getting it right. So whoever buys this, Joe Smith buys this, he's gonna own all the acreage, so that if he or she decides they do wanna build in the future, and we're not getting into that, but I'm just saying, it would be that person coming to the board
Well,
to
depending on what
get.
they wanted to build, it would be an accessory to their already single-family home. So
Okay.
an accessory meaning like a barn.
Right. But I'm
Yes.
saying, but if for some reason they were trying to tout, oh, I
A
think we
pool.
can, no, I'm just saying if they wanted to build that house, which I heard you say is
Oh.
inaccessible.
Yeah.
But if they were trying to, it would be that person.
And they'd have
If they
to come
own the
before
whole
us
thing.
And they
again,
would
Yeah,
have to come
okay.
before you again and notify
whole
you.
new plan.
And the driveway wouldn't
Everything.
meet the standards or.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that, so I just making sure that it would be a different person coming.
Anybody who wants to build a road, whether there's wetlands or not, they have to go to the planning board at minimum.
For a road, this is right.
For a road,
Yeah,
right.
please tell me about it.
Typically, especially in this area of town, there's wetlands involved, so they're gonna have to go to planning board and conservation.
Mhm.
And there may also be, actually, there's the local floodplain overlay protection district, so they have to go to the zoning board too. So you almost, in most cases, in this area of town, you're gonna hit all three boards,
Mhm.
usually the same plan. What we'd like to do is get this plan kind of to their satisfaction, conservation satisfaction, and then bring that final plan to zoning.
Mhm.
So what I want to predict at August 11th, they'll open the hearing, because it's been advertised, you've been invited to go to the hearing. We'll give them a kind of rundown, and then ask them to continue it, because we won't have this plan finalized by conservation by August 11th. Zoning could approve it, because they're not approving, well, no, they are approving a special permit, so they're probably gonna wanna see that these guys are satisfied first. So likely the August 11th zoning hearing will get continued to September or October, just so you know what to expect down the line. And at the end of this discussion tonight, we'll agree on what date we would try to come back to these guys with an updated plan. We need some time to go out there and traipse through the woods and put on the flags and put on a plan and stuff.
Get up, poison ivy.
The column motion.
So probably it's not gonna be 2 weeks from now, but it might be 4 weeks from now. They meet every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Right. So I just wanna give you that kind of big picture background.
I appreciate, that's great. And you may not know this answer, so I don't, it says, so who, is this town land over
I think
here?
it
Yeah.
says it right on the plan.
Does it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep, town of Abington.
Schools. This is a school.
Okay. I think that's all good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Step right up.
Thank you. So, Glenn LaPointe Jr., speaking on behalf of Abington Investments. I can probably help clarify some of the stuff. So, the confusion I think that we're running into as far as, I know this is off base for conservation, but I just want to say it. Those 3 lots that we did out in the front, that was a project that we were looking at basically by itself. We took her house down, we were building her the house, we were building 2 other houses. There was a lot more frontage going down Groveland Street, obviously with wetlands and stuff like that. We decided we weren't gonna push the issue of trying to build anything more on that. This, we actually never really looked at, and that's what Rebecca was saying before. This part was never flagged, this part was never looked at before, even though it was part of the property. And the way that it was shaped is there's a big chunk of property that's on Groveland Street and Ludwig Street. There's a small kind of funnel in between, and then it opens up to this bigger part. That part, we never had checked. We never had looked at, we never had flagged. Before we sold the last house, we wanted to do some due diligence and basically decided to have these guys look at and see if there was anything out there. There was. They came back and said, you have enough land to do, you could do a private driveway, 3-lot subdivision out there. We went back and forth a number of different times with how much wetlands disturbance that was gonna be, all the different issues as far as building that roadway out there. We came to the conclusion, and my family as well, that this single-family house was probably the best-case scenario for this land. And foregoing 2 other houses that possibly could go there, we decided to go ahead and do 1 retreat lot. We then had Rebecca basically draw and, look at everything. For us, this was the least amount of wetlands damage, the least amount of inconvenience to you guys as neighbors. I understand, we're builders, I get it, we live in town. I have 38 houses on my side yard right now. I had the same thing, and I now have 38 houses on my side yard. I understand it, but that's what happens, and you're not gonna, everybody here probably owns their own house, but you're also not thinking about people that wanna buy a house. And I understand that the building in town, and everyone wants to say that the builder's this, the builder's of that. There's a need for housing, especially for a single-family house on a nice lot. I don't think it's asking too much. It wasn't something that we're trying to pull anything over on anybody. I want to make sure that was straight. The idea behind the disturbance was also, it's not something we take lightly. We don't want to go into an area and create havoc. I know that a lot of times the builders get the reputation of they don't care, they're gonna go in there and do whatever they wanna do. If that was the case, we would be proposing a road. I also think that by us proposing the driveway, it does limit other things from getting built out there. Because like somebody else said, you would have to basically rip everything out and redo the roadway to go in there. So, yes, someone could do that, but at that point, you would then be basically redoing everything that we've already done. By doing this 1 single family with a 16-foot driveway, in my mind, it solidifies the fact that the rest of that land is owned by that one person who is gonna have a 12 point, whatever it is, 7 acre lot. I think that is a better scenario in the sense that more than likely that is what's gonna stay out there at that point. If we had gone ahead and said, okay, we'll do the 20-foot road, with curbing and stuff like that, I could all but guarantee you that there would be other houses getting pushed to go in there. So, again, it wasn't something that we just threw out there. It's taken a long time to go back and forth and try to, figure out things. We hired a very good firm, Sean Riley as well, just to make sure that everything was, explained to us as developers and homeowners before we even took it to you guys. And believe me, it was gone back and forth a number of times before it even landed here. It wasn't something that we just said, no, great, let's go for the 3 lots and let's see if we can, get this thing in. In my mind, it's a disturbance to the neighbors because you're gonna get a house where there wasn't one. I understand that. And I understand that as my own experience, I understand it as a builder, but I also understand that there is a need for housing, and this house here, for me, you know, it actually will fit a need. It'll fit a need for somebody that either, you know, wants to have their own land and be able to enjoy it, or, you know, somebody that is looking for a house that now is gonna have an opportunity to buy one. So I hope that helps, and I'm also available. Anybody wants to talk to me, you know, we're in town. So I don't have a problem talking to anybody and seeing, you know, and like I said, I mean, Rebecca's super reasonable as far as, we want to make the project as good as it can be. And you know, for us, you know, when we leave there, I want to make sure that I don't have any problems as the builder. So it's not something that we're looking to just, you know, go ahead and here we go, and then we're out of here. You know, we're also in town. So, I mean, that's the other issue. So, I mean, I see most of you people, so it's something that, like I said, when we bring something forward, I'm hoping that it's a good project, and I feel like this is well thought out as far as the alternatives. And, you know, again, if the confusion, that first thought was looked at strictly by itself. You know, we hadn't spent, truthfully, we didn't want to spend the money to go out. We were working on that and handle the rest of that property at that point. It wasn't even on the agenda. But before we let the last one go, then yeah, we figured we might as well take a look and see what the alternatives are. And we weren't sure. I mean, I know there's a lot of wetlands out there. Everybody told us how much wetlands there were out there. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, it was something that worked and worked for everybody. And, you know, I think this meeting is something that everybody can kind of throw their concerns out, and we come up with a good solution for everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions too, feel free.
Can I
Anybody else? Yep, come back up.
just to address what he said, first, I do like the alternative, I think it's great. I just think the points people were bringing up earlier was, at the last meeting, you didn't say, we haven't even given any consideration to the wetlands. You said definitively, you gave your word, we are not gonna build. And there was a time in this country where giving your word meant something, or shaking a person's hand meant something. So if you would phrase it as, we haven't even reviewed that property yet, at least we could have all thought, okay, someday it's gonna happen. But we would give him the word.
Yeah, it's not.
Right, I'm just saying, there's nothing we do about it, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's sort
this is a
of, it's sort of a sad
backyard
day.
conversation, not a
If
board
my word meant
meeting,
something,
so
that
we
would be
have
bad.
And we understand what you're saying, but that's outside of our parameters for this
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay. Well, I mean, he got to bring up that, so we're just commenting on what he got to bring up.
Well, I didn't see it that way, and if there's a confusion, then like I said, you and I can have a conversation about it, I'm fine with that.
Anything else from the public? Bring it back to the board?
I guess it's, I think we're gonna need to continue the hearing, and we need to set up a site walk.
Yeah.
So you probably need to talk to Mr. Thompson to get the site walk.
I don't need Mr. Thompson to refresh the flags. I would have our surveyor go out and refresh the flags based on the survey that we did. Okay, so, I needed just a day from you guys sometime next week.
No, I'm not gonna be around.
Okay, week after?
That works better for me too.
The week after.
The week after works better.
What is that, beginning of August?
The 9th?
The
Around
9th
the
is
week.
our next meeting.
Okay, so
Do you wanna do it on the 8th?
I'm not here on the 8th.
I can do it on the 5th,
I'm
on a
actually
Friday,
going away.
or on a Wednesday.
I could do it on
Available on the
one
fourth.
of those days with you.
Wednesday or Friday works for me.
Thursday.
Second and fourth works for me.
When can you have the flags?
Thursday, I can do the fourth also.
I can do the 4th, it would have to be at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
so I can do the
It
fourth.
can't
I
be,
can't do the 4th.
I can't either.
I can't do next week.
Next week just is bad.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Diane, how many of you,
Want to go, need to go?
you know, have to go? I mean,
Well,
you don't
it's not
have to go,
half.
but you'd like, all of you'd like
I
to go.
mean, we would like to go. I mean, you know, as conservation commissioners, we would all like to be able to go out there and get a
Right.
full understanding and a view of what the property
This
looks
is
like.
complicated, so I think for us
Yeah.
to see it
No,
will help.
that was a dumb question, but I
Yeah.
wanted to hear your answer, that everybody wants to
okay.
go. That's right,
Yeah.
it's not like you just need a quorum to go.
The week of the 8th, that's better for the three of
Right.
us.
And I
How do you
did,
guys work out?
somebody said, was it you, Alex, the Wednesday or
I
Friday?
can do Friday or Wednesday.
10th or the 12th?
Why can't we just do two separate visits?
Oh, Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
solution, there we go.
He has to pay for her to come
Oh,
twice.
yeah, it's cost, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
I got the office.
Yes. Whatever's easiest for us.
You can get poison ivy twice.
It's easy to have with fun.
I just need my surveyor to do it once, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter for that. So
Okay.
if you're looking at the week of the 8th to the 12th, you pick your day. I'll have the surveyor out there the week of the 1st.
I'm busy every
5.
single day that week. So.
All right,
We could pick one day, see how it goes, if half of you are satisfied, if,
It has to be before the 9th.
It doesn't, because I
Well,
think you guys
it
have still
could
got
be.
some stuff you gotta
We're-
give us, so we could do it on
Okay.
the 10th or the 11th.
yeah.
Wanna do it on
why did they
the
have to update
Oh, what day, the
their
11th?
NOI?
You wanna do the 11th?
Yeah, let's do the 11th, and
That's a
and we'll
Thursday.
have the,
That's a day, how about a time?
5
5
o'clock.
o'clock?
Yeah, it's gonna go through, 'cause-
Oh, yeah, okay.
sorry, for us, we work, so,
Me too.
and we're gonna make you work, sorry.
Glenn, since you're the property owner, if I can't make it to that meeting, do you have a problem with me going out there by myself? I just
Whenever anybody
wanna,
wants to.
okay,
Could I too, join you?
Thank you.
That's
okay.
fine.
I just wanna get it on record that,
Whoever wants to go out.
Oh,
You're
we have
giving
a
us
statement
permission.
in the NOI checklist.
but they don't have a
Oh, all right,
checklist.
but maybe we could
Yeah.
just get a written statement from you, just an email saying that it's okay? Thank you.
So if
Well,
a
I mean-
neighbor sees strange.
We had
cars
some
coming
problems
out,
with that before.
Pass
Yeah.
the street.
Don't call the police.
From your selectman liaison, thank you.
Drainage pipes for the.
Yeah,
common properties.
I'll talk to you guys after the meeting about that.
So I'm sorry, you're looking at the 11th at 5 o'clock?
Yes.
I'm not going, I'm just trying to note it.
I'm not available that day.
What day are you going?
No, that's for the-
The 8th?
Are you taking any
Again.
more questions?
And you'll let us know when
I
it's
just have a
flagged,
quick
Yeah.
question.
so that these guys decide to pick a day.
As long as it's related to
It
conservation,
it is
yeah.
related.
Yep.
Just for clarification, when the Conservation Board and the Zoning Board hold, I received the notice for the Zoning Board. I apologize, I confused that. I didn't look at
Okay.
it closely.
It's all right.
We understand, it's
But
confusing.
future conservation or zoning board meetings that affect this particular development, will the abutters again receive?
No.
They will
Okay,
not.
we don't receive notices, so
You
what?
just have to keep following.
Yeah.
Okay, so I look at the notices
I can
on.
give you my card upstairs after the meeting if you wait, and you can just call me every week, and I'll tell you if we have one.
Okay.
I'll give you that permission.
My next question is, when
No,
is this
I
meeting
appreciate
continued?
that.
Right, we're gonna pick a date right now to schedule to come back here,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, I
And ju-
mean, if we're gonna do the sidewalk after the next meeting,
Right, so
probably
what's the next meeting after that?
be the
23rd?
23rd, yeah.
Be the 27th.
23rd of August, Tuesday night at 6:30, again, right?
Mm-hmm,
That'll be the next Conservation Commission meeting.
right.
Someone wanna make a motion, or anything else on the board?
Our goal will be to try to submit an updated plan with some of the responses to some of the questions prior to that meeting on the 23rd, so that when we're all back here, you will have had an opportunity to review it, we'll have an opportunity to review it, and we can go over all that update.
Mhm. And an updated NOI with the number and the owner. Property owner? It's not on
Abington
here.
Investments?
No, that's listed as the applicant. The owner, if it's the same, you still need to fill it out. That's all I'm saying.
I thought it said owner is different.
If it is different, I don't know if it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's,
You just have to fill out both areas, that's all.
She wants
it
to
says.
build it.
No, only if it's different
It says
than-
Only if
property
it's
owner
different.
required,
Oh.
it's different from the applicant, so it's
Oh,
not
I'm
different.
sorry. Well, why did Ann just say, okay, I apologize, I take that back.
Quite all right, no offense taken.
Thank you.
Any other further comment? No. Someone to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this 084-558 until our meeting of August 23rd.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in,
Are we gonna be discussing it tonight?
huh?
Is there anything we're gonna be discussing?
No,
Yeah.
we're not doing the sidewalk until
Okay.
the 11th, so.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
LaPointe. Thank you, residents. Thank you.
Billy?
This one, yeah, this is July.
Let's go right across the hall.
So it is the same.
about birds?
Oh, we're not done yet. Couple more minutes.
They're all leaving?
Excuse me. Can you guys wait a couple more minutes?
You just gotta wait across the hall, okay? We're not done.
Building
Unless you're
permits
here
and
for
site
something else.
visits. Site visits we talked about already. Alex and I went over to 0 Hancock Street today.
And we walked Zero Summer. a
Yeah,
bunch of
last
us,
week.
And there's comments. I think we all submitted them to Tony.
Yep. And
Directly,
Mark,
and she submitted
LEC's
them.
working on it.
LEC's working on it. So that hearing is continued to the, we continued it.
To the next meeting on
To
the
the
ninth.
next meeting, okay.
Building permits, what was the digital permit? Was,
Can you shut the door out?
what was the address?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, was there any building permit?
He's looking.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
one.
all right, to tell us what it was.
I might have it on my phone.
Why did I think it was?
8 Hunts Pond Road swimming pool. There's no wetlands issues there. Everything else is further down on Hunts Pond Road.
That all Grove? Yeah, that's all Grove. right?
Yeah. Meeting minutes. All right, all we're gonna approve tonight is June 14th, because the agenda is incorrect for the June 12th, it's for July 12th, so we'll do that at the next meeting. Everybody get a chance to look over the minutes for June 14th?
Yes.
Make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes as printed for June 14th.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, we had a bunch with, just the questions going back and forth between the two properties we've discussed tonight. The last meeting, I forgot to go over, there's a property on Nile Street. It looks like there may have been some construction in the 200-foot riverfront. I didn't know
I'm
if
gonna
somebody.
recuse myself, Mr. Chairman, I am a resident of Nile Street.
Okay.
What number?
95 Niles.
Okay.
The correspondence is in the packet for the, I think,
Did you see?
the last regular
I
meeting.
didn't get it. That was in my
Can you-
packet. Did you guys get anything on Nile Street?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking to these guys. Did anybody get anything on Nile Street in the
I
packet?
thought it was in there.
Yeah, I thought
So anyways, I'd like somebody to go over and take a look at it, see if there's been work done in the 200-foot buffer, and
So do we need to contact, can we see if?
I'll have Tony contact the property owner and set up a meeting.
So do we have a particular time that we want to go there, or?
Who wants to go? I guess two of you want to go, do it like we've been doing.
I can go
with,
no matter what. Yeah, we'll be the,
I just emailed.
we'll be the visitors.
One of you guys wanna go?
I just want to make sure they're home and
Yeah,
that.
well, Tony can set it up, and then you guys can,
Okay, sounds
between
good.
the-
Can we try to do it this week?
Alex, you want to go
Because
out there?
You're on
or-
vacation.
What day is it?
I leave.
They'll set something up, so
Friday.
just email all.
This week?
Afternoon.
No,
I'm leaving
probably
Friday
next
too.
week.
Can we do,
Yeah, my next week is,
we could, can we do it tomorrow or Thursday?
Well,
Oh, she won't get a
probably,
hold of them.
yeah.
Monday or two, oh, you're gonna be
Why
gone
don't you,
next
why don't
week.
you let Tony reach out to them, and then,
We'll figure out when we're
Yeah.
gonna go. Okay,
I can't do Tuesday for sure.
okay. I can do Monday next week or
And-
Tuesday.
yeah, like I said, let Tony reach out to the property owner and see what works for them.
Okay.
Then you guys can
Then we can
figure it
all,
out.
well, we can all
Yeah.
email her back and
Yeah.
say, yeah, that works. And at least a couple of us should go see it, I think.
And that's it for correspondence.
Okay?
Someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Can I just make a quick comment? Sorry. You guys had mentioned a checklist earlier. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, can I
Yeah.
make a comment?
Sure.
You guys have mentioned a checklist earlier, and I know you changed fees and stuff. Can I suggest, this is just a suggestion, putting it on the website's nice, but you're not gonna get local engineers and local builders and stuff checking your website every week. If you could think about perhaps sending your checklist to like the frequent flyers that come to
The
you.
usual players?
Yeah, the local send it to SEA, send it to Strong Point, send it to some of the engineers locally, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna just file stuff like they normally do, and then Tony's gonna kick it back saying, you don't have enough fees and the plans aren't colored or whatever. So I think if you can kind of basically.
Preempted strike.
Yeah, throw out the fishing net instead of waiting for them to find it too
Yep.
late. It's just a suggestion to make everyone's life a lot easier, and the engineers will draw it up once and write one
Yep.
check correctly. That's my thought.
Cool.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Thank
they'll
you.
have
Thank you,
words
thank
in.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
So.